Hey, good morning, guys. Welcome to another episode of Xah Talk Show. Today is 2020, January 14th, Tuesday, 3 o'clock p.m. in the afternoon, San Francisco time. And today, the main topic is going to be JavaScript and plus random. And uh, And we are going to talk about some keyboards, I think, because there are some interesting discussions about keyboard. And is Kathy here? Let's see. So Kathy, let's start to talk about keyboards. And how many people we have here? We have 3 people, 4 people. Uh, okay, keyboards. Let me show you about keyboards. So we go to the talk show, today's talk show, and okay, before we so let me actually do this. Okay, switch window, switch, close that, and make this into that, and let's put a item there, and so number. Oops. So look at the Emacs screen. We are going to. Good morning, Kathy. Good morning, BM Corsa. 1 a.m. in Rwanda. Oh my God, we have a person in Rwanda. Rwanda. That's Africa, right? That's kind of Africa. That's a place that had problems. Rwanda. Uh, so that's fantastic. Great to see you. How's it going? And okay, so we gonna do. Let's do this. Okay, so I'm going to copy this into the YouTube description. So this is a list of possible topics about JavaScript. So let me know which topic you like to see first. Okay, so description in a description in YouTube description, type a number, and we'll talk about that. Type a number, and we'll do that. Okay, but let's show some keyboards first. Okay, so keyboards. Let's go to keyboard. So Kathy just bought this key mouse thing. Fantastic. So among the watchers, my watchers here, we have now 3 person who has this key mouse thing. Now this key mouse is keyboard and mouse combined into one, and they have 2 or 3 versions. One is called let me show you. Okay, one is called Key Mouse Alpha, which is this one. Now this one is shown by Hello Beautiful People. That's his nickname. So Kowodo. So this is one of the version, and this version is keyboard and mouse in one together. So you type and you move the whole thing. It functions as a mouse. You also have a square wheel on it. So this is key mouse. I think this one is called key mouse alpha. Yes. And the other version is key mouse track, which is you see here. This one is Kathy's. So Kathy got this one. I'm amazed. This thing costs $500 US dollars. So you see, in this one, you have a combination. On the left, I think it's key mouse alpha, which is a mouse. On the right, you have a trackball. And so Kathy bought it. And from Kathy says it's fantastic. It Good morning, Outshine. So here are some pictures, and you can go to my website and look at them. And there are some videos about that. So that's key mouse. That's Lamy Safari. What is Lamy Safari? If I'm not mistaken, the pen, the pen, key mouse. What pen? Let's see. Go down, go down, go down, go down, go down, go down. Oh, this. Okay, good morning, Nabi. So Nabi once picks a topic of JavaScript warts. So let's talk about that. So yeah, let's begin. I'm going to begin to talk about JavaScript because JavaScript warts, there's a huge number of topics. I hope I can talk about that in a coherent manner because I am not prepared. Let's do this impromptu. So anyway, there's this key spinner keycap. That's interesting. Wait. So you see, it's a spinner keycap. And there is this one, Ugo dash. So someone thank Matt B. Thanks to Matt B for donation. And he built this Ugo dash keyboard with a wheel, with a volume, with a knob. So I talked about this with a knob before. Knobs are very useful, okay, especially for controlling any command that has a forward and backward pair. For example, scroll up and down, page up and down, or move cursor right and left, move cursor up and down, and browser tabs, left and right, and browser backward and forward. There are like 10 over more than 10 commands that's comes in pairs, up and down or left and right. So for those operations, a wheel is the optimal. For example, volume up and volume down. Usually, for example, right now on this keyboard, I'm pressing the volume up and down. Back here. So volume up and down is a pair of commands that is most suitable if you have a wheel. Now this video's got black screens. Anyway, let's go on. So volume up down command is it's one of those commands that comes in pairs. And when that happens, the best control, human machine control, is a wheel. For example, on stereo, you never see they have two buttons, volume and volume up and down. That's stupid. Except on remote control, because usually they want the remote control to be light, so they don't have the wheel. So anyway, wheel is the best thing for that. Okay, and for example, mouse scroll and mouse down, mouse scroll up, wheel, mouse scroll wheel. You never see, you don't want a mouse instead of a wheel. It has two buttons. You press to go up and down. So So in many situations, the knob is actually the best thing. So actually, this guy built it. And let me actually show you some of the others. So do it yourself. Uh, for example, this keyboard we talked about before, it's got 4 wheels of different shape, and this would be fantastic keyboard. And we also have Kiria, this guy who has been one of us on Discord. He built this keyboard and he sells it, so you can go and buy it. So this volume wheel is a fantastic thing, and that is why today this guy also build the ergo dash with the wheel. So when you have that, then you can program it to do whichever you find you need. Lots of commands. So that's about that. Let's talk about JavaScript. Okay, and also this mouse I talked about before. This mouse got a joystick on top. It turns out it's not that great because the joystick is kind of stiff and not a high quality one, not as high quality as those you find on a controller, game controller. So not high quality, and also you have to move all the way. It's not analog joystick, so it basically is just like 4 buttons: up, down, left, right, and also you can push it. And it's not high quality, and it's not analog. So because of that, it reduces the goodness of this device by a lot. Also, because the way it's positioned, you cannot, you have to move your thumb up in order to press that. So if you press those, if you want to use a joystick, you cannot move the mouse. So that's a problem with. So I don't think this is that great. Okay, so that's about keyboard stuff. I wanted to let's talk about JavaScript then. Okay, so, and good morning, Alan. Oh, Komodo. So eagle eye. So that's Komodo's pen. Okay, so let's see. Komodo's pen. Let's see. Let's go down. Oh, so that pen is apparently famous. It's a Lamy Safari. Okay, now we have to look at that. Lamy Safari. Okay, so it's those how do you call those quill pen? How do you call those pen? I forgot the name. Interesting. No, I can hear you now. Wait, you can hear me? Am I correct? Am I good? Okay, good. So let's talk about there's no audio. What? Oh, when I was this video thing is always annoying. I had no audio. Yeah, okay. So anyway, keep repeating let's do JavaScript. Okay, let's let's go to JavaScript. Let's begin JavaScript. Okay, so JavaScript. So warts. Okay, so let's talk about JavaScript warts. So go to my JavaScript website, and I have to put a concerted effort to do this. Because now the JavaScript is a big topic. And I have to do this extempo impromptu to summarize all the words of JavaScript. There are tons of words of JavaScript. I need to I need to actually focus and think about what we want to, how we gonna do these JavaScript words. Fountain pen. Oh yeah, that's the name of that pen, fountain pen. So JavaScript. This is a big and heavy topic, and so let me begin by writing out what comes to mind. What is the JavaScript problems? What I want to talk about. Okay. So magnify the browser. So JavaScript what's the best thing to do is always to write a topic when you are unsure what's going on. So JavaScript what? I want to talk about, okay, JavaScript array problem. There is no real array. Instead, array is just a object that is key value pairs that pretend to be a array. Okay, that's one thing. JavaScript array. Now let's talk about JavaScript var. Okay, JavaScript var problems. Because it is its scope problem, because it is a so-called functional scope. That's a problem. And JavaScript var, another problem is so-called hoisting problem. Okay, then I'm going to talk about JavaScript function, keyword function problem. For example, the hoisting problem and other problems. Let's just keep let that be that for now. Hoisting problem. So show in browser. So I'm gonna, okay, so let's do JavaScript warts. Show in browser. So now it's clear to see. So these are several of the problems. JavaScript array problem. Okay, so now we go to JavaScript, and let me give you more problems, and I'm going to talk about them one by one. JavaScript. So language tutorial, JavaScript. Now the easiest way to get a list of JavaScript warts or JavaScript problems is by going to near the bottom where I have the miscellaneous section. Let me magnify this page. Miscellaneous section. You have style guide and semicolon. Okay, semicolon is another problem indeed. Okay, and strict mod, that's also another problem. So when we start to talk about JavaScript problems, there are really tons of problems. JavaScript is not a great language. It's not a great language because it's designed back in 2005 to be a language for non-programmers, like, for example, website designers, HTML and CSS coders. They are not, I mean, at that time there's no CSS yet, but JavaScript is designed to be those people who write HTML who are not real programmers. And it is actually, so the reason JavaScript, let me write it down, okay? The reason JavaScript sucks, JavaScript has tons of warts. The reason JavaScript sucks is because it was designed and implemented in 10 days, literally. Okay, JavaScript is literally designed and implemented in 10 days, and we have to give credit to the guy who did it. His name is what's the name of the guy who created JavaScript? I always forget the names. You can search, just search for JavaScript inventor. I talked about him several times. In fact, we have personal, we I talked to the guy many times. He is also the guy who created the browser, the Brave browser, which is the one you are seeing here. So I think he's a great guy. Okay, so anyway, JavaScript has lots of problems because it's designed and implemented in 10 days, and it is a language designed for non-programmers, for them to create, for them to add a little interactivity in a web page. Now remember, this is back in 1995. So at that time there's no CSS yet. So they are, Netscape is just trying to create a language which is by the way, at that time that's a great innovation, because at the time you just have you only have HTML, static HTML. There's no dynamic HTML yet. So nobody foresee dynamic HTML. There's no such technology. So you have static websites where basically nerds write static website, just like me. I'm still doing it after 25 years. There's no dynamic web page, and so JavaScript is a big innovation. So that's the reason JavaScript sucks. Okay, and now let's get back to the items, why it sucks. Then we start to talk about it. And JavaScript is invented by Brenda Eich. That's right, Brenda, Brendaneich. Brenda Eich. I think that's how he spelled his name. Brenda Eich. I think he's a good guy. So why JavaScript sucks? So that's the thing. That's the meta preface. Now, then we give a list of items why JavaScript sucks, and there's more. Okay, so let's go back to. Actually, let me start to get the full list. Semicolon problem. Okay, JavaScript semicolon problem. I'm gonna explain them in detail. The semicolon problem. Okay, and then I'm going to here is a great page where I can get a list of why it sucks. So this page is about JavaScript style guide. So it tells you, I tell you, always declare variables. Okay, that's another problem of variables. JavaScript var problem. Declaring or not declaring var. Okay, and actually let me remove all these JavaScript words. Declaration. Okay, var declaration, that's a problem. And null. Okay, so let me talk about null. JavaScript, the null problem, because in JavaScript null is a literal of the type null, of the value type. Now listen carefully. Okay, listen carefully of everything I say, because what I say is very precise. Now, I don't care if you have coded, if you are a professional working for Google, writing JavaScript code, let's say for 2 years, you are a big, hot shot working at Google on front end on JavaScript. If you are that, I mean, I don't care if you are that or not. What I say, you might have heard online or somewhere that people say JavaScript is this or that. That's all wrong. Well, not all wrong, but what I'm saying is that what I'm describing carefully here is very precise. And if you hear contrary opinions, those opinions are wrong. I'm giving you some sort of a mathematical, very accurate perspective. Okay. So why am I started to talk about that? Because here I mentioned value type. You will almost never, actually, you will never hear people say value type. You will almost never hear people say that value type when they talk about JavaScript. But actually, that is the correct description of the types in JavaScript. Value has types. So when you talk about types, it's a type of a value. So anyway, so JavaScript, there's a null. The null problem. Null is a value of type null, and the only value of that type is the literal word null itself. And that is a problem because it is a problem because of okay, so type, for example, let me tell you, type of, there's a operator in JavaScript, type of. So in JavaScript, if you say type of null, you get a string object. So this is a problem. This is the reason this happened, because there's a bug in the C implementation of JavaScript originally. So literally, it's a bug. So Brenda Eich, wrote JavaScript. He implemented, and you have to do this in 10 days. That's how much pressure you have. You have to design the language and implement it, write a compiler for it within 10 days, all done within 10 days. Then the next day, on the 11th day, it's shipped. So you got lots of bugs, not design problems and bugs too. So null, today, if you call type of null, you get the object, which is just incorrect. So people have traced, I've shown this before, traced to the source code. That's why, it's literally because the source code is just incorrect. It's a bug in the source code. But we are stuck with it. Then there's nothing we can do. We are just stuck with it. So JavaScript have tons of these problems. Let me show you another problem. Okay, the problem of equality operator. So in JavaScript, you have double equal, that's an equality operator, and you have triple equal, that's another equality operator. And the difference between them is the double equal will automatically do type conversion on the values on the left and right. They will automatically convert them. Meanwhile, the triple equal, they will not do this automatic conversion. You should always use the triple equal, because why? Because why isn't the auto conversion great? Because why not? Because since it's automatic. Well, it's not good because JavaScript, the auto conversion by the spec is extremely lousy, so it's extremely confusing. So that's why you guys may have seen a video about JavaScript that talks about what, you guys familiar with that video? By a very smart guy, and he's a great programmer too. He also does programming video tutorials. So let me show you. You guys probably have seen JavaScript. There's a video called what or something like that. What's it's like a meme. The word is not what, but it's like So let me read the comments. Oh, well, remember blinking scrolling banners. Remember blinking scrolling banners. Yeah, that's back in 1990s. How did that topic came up? Okay, Outshine says, why is incorrect? Why wouldn't null be an object? Because null is not object. Because by the design of JavaScript, by the design of JavaScript, a object is supposed to be key value pairs always. Whenever some people say whenever you have a value that's an object, it must always have key value pairs, like a hash table in Python, in Ruby, in Perl, or in Python you call it dictionary. Key value pairs. That's what object is in JavaScript. So but the null value, it's not a key value pair because you cannot add a key value pair to it, so it's really shouldn't be a object. So I'm going to show you. I haven't get into the details yet. I'm just right now. I'm just trying to list a list of the problems, the words. Then I'm going to dig into the details of each one, because I'm going to show you the actual source code, the C source code. You can, I know where to look. I show you the source code, then you'll see, that's a bug. So Navi says you were talking about the dark ages of JavaScript. Reminded me of how bad things were back then. Yeah, okay, right. So yeah, we have Blink. That's that's another thing to go into. The history of HTML is lots of dramas, lots of dead technology, lots of, at one time it's all over the place. It's like, oh, this is a bad thing, this is gonna change the world, this is gonna be the future for the web. Then after 5 years it's dead, completely dead. For example, two of the example is VRML. Okay, I'm starting to digress. Okay, so but VRML. Okay, I don't want this to be a history talk today. But anyway, VRML is one of the technology that's supposed to be the future of the web, and after 5 years, it's dead. Never heard of. And XML is another example. It's XML for about 10 years. It's supposed to be the future of XML. The future of HTML. It's gonna be truly fix everything that's bad in HTML. Like the blink tag or object tag. So we started to, every nerd is like, oh, you need to you need to do XML. XML. Have you done XML yet? You need to switch your website to XML. Then after 10 years, it's dead. It's killed by another big dramatic history. It's killed by the HTML5 working group, which is basically commercial, began by Opus operating Opus browser, Opera browser, and Apple. They want to kill XML because they want to do their own things for money. Because, for example, Apple started to create iPhone, and Apple wants Canvas. Apple invented Canvas. Apple wants Canvas. Apple don't want, each company, they just want their things to thrive. They don't want the other. So they created this rebel standard, this rebel group called What the Fuck HTML Working Group. Okay, so uh, I don't know. I can. Here's the name. Okay, here's a group. I'm gonna show you. Yeah, they created this HTML. Wait, nah, WG. W Anyway, I can't remember the names at the moment because I'm talking. So you guys know? You guys know what's the group name? I have lots of articles about it, but then we'll digress into finding those articles. But anyway, let's close it. So anyway, they basically there is this new I can find it, HTML standard. Okay, HTML spec. Okay, I can show you right fast. There it is. What the fuck working group? WHATWG. This is the brief for this organization. So Apple, beginning, Apple around 2007 or so, 2006, Apple and Opera, Opera browser. The Opera browser is created by this fuckhead he's from Northern Europe, okay, Finland or Norway or something like that. He's a fuckhead. He's a Microsoft hater. He is also a creator of CSS. So that guy, by his some Swedish some name I don't remember, but anyway, he invented CSS, and he is also the tech leader of Opera, the browser, and he is also a Microsoft hater. Opera browser has been hanging around, on and off, trying to do things. In the beginning, it's a very good browser, but today it's like done. It's gone for. It's done for. It's dead. So Opera browser, the Opera guy, the company, and Apple in the beginning mostly. Then Google joined in. They created this working group. They in the beginning they are trying to suggest to the W3C, which is a standard for HTML, the organization, which is also not so good. Anyway, they tried to talk to them, and the W3C refused. No, they say, okay, I don't think your proposal is good. We're gonna stick with our own, XML, and so they created this, what the fuck working group. Then this group started to work on HTML5. That's how HTML5 arose. Because Apple wants their own stuff. They don't want, they want to push for Canvas and a bunch of other non-standard things, for their iPhone mostly. What are other non-standard? For example, let me show you. To this day, well, it's starting to become this line. For example, meta tag viewport. This Apple invented this one, this viewport meta tag, because so that web pages will display fine on their iPhone. Remember, iPhone is created around 2006 with a tiny screen, so you have to do lots of things to make it work. So anyway, Apple invented that tag. Apple has a lot, they want to create their own stuff. This tag, I'm not sure today it's part of the standard yet, but I know I've read it's beginning the standard started to make this tag part of the standard. But even so, it's like the history of HTML is one fucked up fuck or fucked up fuck. It's still so to this day. For example, this meta tag, even if it is now part of the HTML5 standard, it doesn't make sense because it's like a meta something. Meta originally is the meta tag originally is designed to be equivalent to the HTTP protocol's headers. Anyway, we are digressing into lots of things. Let's get back to JavaScript warts. Good morning, Sid, to Japan. So anyway, let me just say that today we actually have two standards specification for HTML. One is from this what the fuck working group, the WHATWG working group. Okay, they have one spec for the HTML5 standard. Meanwhile, we have another one from the W3C. Let me write down what we talked about a little bit. VRML, what working group, W3C, history of HTML5, okay, and Canvas and the viewport tag. Okay, let me just have a record of what we talked about today. So anyway, so today we have two standard for HTML5, from different groups, and the spec differs. They literally differ in some detail. So one spec say, oh, this should be that way. This is a valid tag. The other spec says, no, that's not valid. It should be this way. They disagree. They fight. And meanwhile, all the nerds, they don't understand. They are, anyway. Let's get back to JavaScript warts. So okay, so let me show you. That's another keyboard. So JavaScript warts. So actually, I need to be faster. God, we already 40 minutes. We haven't actually begin talking about JavaScript warts. We only started to list some of them. Okay, yeah. So this is gonna be a big topic. So let me finish the list. Okay, so actually. Semicolon rules and the style guide. Okay, so let's follow the style guide. Yeah, with statement is another big words with JavaScript. Okay, I'm going to tell you why. The with statement, that's a problem. Then we have, the equal, double equal, and triple equal, and semicolon problem, and the property name constructor. Oh my God, that's a big, giant, one huge fuck up in JavaScript. The constructor and prototype. I need to start to talk about them in detail because otherwise we never even begin. Okay, constructor and instance of operator is one incredible fuck up, incomprehensible. And most people, most JavaScript coders, they work in companies. They all use it wrong. They don't know what they are doing. Yeah, it's not inaccurate. It is not inaccurate to say that majority, meaning more than 50% of professional JavaScript coders, their code are filled with incorrect use of JavaScript, meaning they introduce actual bugs, not just theoretically incorrect. They actually introduce lots of bugs because the way they use JavaScript. And also, I'm going to start to get into a rant. I'm gonna start to flame lots of things. So array is one big problem in JavaScript, and then the constructor, the constructor with a literal keyword object, that's also a problem. Avoid for in loop, that's another problem. Okay, for something in, that's another problem, because whenever you do for x in some object, that actually looks up your parents. It loops through all the properties of every of your parent, your parent chain. And a lot of people, most programmers they are still using this wrong. Constructor named function eval. Okay, so we're using a keyword. This keyword is also a major problem. Okay, let me start to talk about them. The problem of the keyword this. Okay. And new is a problem. Okay, so we getting more complex. Let me start to explain them. Maybe in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, we'll have a good some useful information. Okay, I talk for 15 minutes. Okay, let me just check. Okay, so JavaScript warts. array problem. So what is the problem of JavaScript array? Let me show you. Okay, so array JavaScript has you. I need to start to show code. Okay, because with code you actually see what I'm talking about. So let's do array problem. Let's do a JavaScript. Let's start to code JavaScript. So JavaScript constant. Okay, so ARR is array. Now 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's an array. 3, 4, 5. You know, we got three things. And the console log array, so we can print it. So we got an array 3, 4, 5. Now array JavaScript do not have true arrays. Why? Because JavaScript array is actually a JavaScript object. It doesn't have true arrays. For example, this 3, 4, 5 is actually, it is technically a object with three keys. The keys are 0, 1, 2. You know, the keys are just indexes of the array. So the keys are 0, 1, 2. And the values corresponding to each key are 3, 4, 5. So you don't have a true array. You have, you know, it's actually a object that pretends to be array. So what's a big deal? I mean, why is it? I mean, am I making something out of some small issue? No, because you have real problems. For example, let's see. You know, for example, array. So let's go to array. Okay, so JavaScript. Let's go to array. Let's talk about array. And array have a lot of problems. A huge amount of a lot of problems. Array is the biggest one major problem in JavaScript. Let's talk about them. Okay, so create array, sparse array. Yeah, then you have the sparse array problem. Um, then you have the array-like object problem. You know, it's very funny. You know, in other languages, Python, Ruby, Perl, array is just array. You know, maybe they differ a bit. You know, basically they are the same. Array, you just have array. Array is an ordered list of items. Each element is indexed by a number. You know, starting with 0 usually. So you know that's what array is, and that's it. That's it. You understand the whole thing. But in JavaScript, it's not. That's not the case because JavaScript is actually not real array. It's technically it's an object. So you start to have lots of little details, problems, and issues. For example, you have the concept of sparse array. Then you have the concept of array-like objects. Then you have a problem of how do you determine when is a value that's actually a real array or array-like object. You know, you got these problems. Let me show you. Okay, so yeah, okay, so here is one of the most easy example. So type of ARR. Okay, so let's run that. What? Oh, they changed this thing in Node.js. What's going on? There is some change they made. But anyway, let's just look at this line. Okay, type of, you see, I say type of 3, 4, 5, and you know I say it's object, and it returns true. Okay, so let's comment on this line. So type of, you know, that array is equals to object, is returns true. So that tells us it's actually an object, and there is no, for example, there is no value. I mean, there is no value type that's named array. So you know, in JavaScript, you don't have a value type that's just named array. For example, let me show you what are all the possible value types in JavaScript by spec. So you go to value types. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the 7 possible types of a value in JavaScript. So you have undefined type, you have null type, you have true or false Boolean type, you have string type, then you have number type, which is any number, including the literal none, stand for not a number, and the literal keyword infinity. Those are all values of the number type. Then you have symbol type, then you have object type. You see, so these are all the possible types of a value in JavaScript. Now notice, among them, there is no function and there is no array. So in technical sense, JavaScript doesn't have, when you have a function, it's actually not a function. Technically, it's just an object, meaning it is a key value pairs, but with extra. Okay, the extra is that it actually also is a function. It has an internal body that can, function. So that's one of the problem with JavaScript. You don't have actually an array. In other languages, you say type of something. Maybe you get an array, maybe you get a function, then maybe you get a object or a hash table. But in JavaScript, you don't have a value. These are the possible values. You don't have a function type. You don't have a array type. So array and function are actually technically they are objects. So what does that mean? So that means I can add a key to array. So for example, let's add a key. So array xxx key. Let's say key 1. Okay. Key 1 equals to 3. Okay, let's run that. Then let's show all the keys of the array. So let me show you this. Actually I cannot finish talking about JavaScript warts today. So because I don't have time for the whole thing. So I want to show you all the keys of this array ARR. Okay, so let's see how do we find object properties. So I'm going to show you a way to list all the properties, all the keys of a object. List properties. Okay. Reflect on keys. So let's do that. Reflect on keys. Okay. So we added a key to this array, and we're gonna print that, and we're gonna print it. Okay, run it. Now you can see here are the keys. So this shows you that this array is actually an object because it's printing the keys. So you have key 0, 1, 2. Then you have a magical key length. Actually 0, 1, 2. I mean they are all magical. Then you have also key 1 because key 1 is what we added. You see, so this demonstrates that the array thing in JavaScript is actually truly an object in such a way you can actually use it like a object. For example, you can start to add whatever arbitrary keys you want. For example 3, 4. Let's run it. Okay, so you see key AA and 4. You see here key AA and BB. So that means it's silly. You can now you can just use this array as a general purpose hash table if you want, and you can in fact do the same thing with functions. So this is one of the big warts of JavaScript, and also because array is it's actually an object, but JavaScript pretended to be an array. It shows you like an array, but it's actually an object. So you have this length thing. This length thing is a magical key in this array object. So whenever you add append, whenever you add more value to the array, the value of the length changes automatically. So for example, let's say console log ARR length. Okay, so you can see here it says 3, and let's print it again. It's 3 again. So, but if we append console log AAAR dot append, do we have a append method? I forgot. I haven't been coding JavaScript daily. Yeah. Array prototype. What's the push? Okay, let's just not append, push. Array push. Okay, let's say 99. Okay, so we pushed array, then we're gonna print the array, then we're gonna print the length. Okay, let's run it. So you see the length is 3, and then it becomes 4. What are we doing? So wait, so let's remove that. So let's print that. Okay, and then we push and reprint them again. So you see, so here is array. We don't want, let's not add a key. Okay, so let's not add a key. So run it again. So here is array 3, 4, 5. The length is 3. Then we pushed 99 into it. So we get 99, and now the length is 4. And now if we print all the property keys, we print the keys. Anyway, so you see what I'm saying? Okay, why don't you use object.keys? What's the difference between reflect and object? Reflect is a better version than object.keys. Okay, so let me show you. So you go to JavaScript in depth, go to the properties section, object property, and you go to the list properties. So this page shows you all possible ways to list properties of a object. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ways. Now how they differ, why you have so many, because this gets complex. You know, that's one of the problem with JavaScript. So a property has a attribute of whether it's enumerable or not. Okay, again, let me summarize. A object in JavaScript is key value pairs. Okay, that's a definition of object in JavaScript. Now each key value is called a property. Okay, that's a terminology. Each key value is called a property. So object has properties. Now, but for each property, there are about 3 attributes for the property. That is, whether one of them is whether the property is enumerable. You see what I'm saying? So it's enumerable. Okay, so that's one of the so an object has properties, and for each property, it may be enumerable, or it may not be enumerable. So that's an attribute of a property. So that's one thing. Then you have symbol key and string key. Okay, let me explain that. So a object is a collection of key value pairs. Now for each key, the key allows 2 possible types, value type for the key. One is string key, and the other one is symbol key. Now symbol is another value we are not going to talk about, but anyway, it allows 2 possible value type for the key. So that is why you have these issues. When you use different ways to get a list of property of an object, you know, sometimes you only want the symbol keys. Sometimes you want both string keys and symbol keys. Sometimes you want both. And sometimes you want only the enumerable properties only. Sometimes you don't want that. So these are why you have this complexity, because JavaScript is not a well-designed language, so it's very complex when you get into detail. So you have now 6 ways to list the keys of a object. So normally the most popular one and the earliest one is the object.keys. So it will only list enumerable properties only. So if you have a property attached to a object, but that property is not enumerable, you can make it so. Then the object keys will not show it. Also, the object.keys will not show a symbol key. We can actually demonstrate that. So let's see where we want to go next. Please make a playlist. What playlist? Okay, so maybe I should do some demonstration. But if we do demonstration, I'm not going anywhere. So because the original goal is to go through all the JavaScript warts, but it turns out we only covered the array problem and only partially too. And when we talked about the array problem in JavaScript, we also dragged in several of other warts. So this is a very big topic. And if I prepared for it, it will be better. I haven't been doing JavaScript in the past week. So we were talking. So when we start to talk about JavaScript array, we also talked about several other things, such as the complexities of properties, the enumerable or not, and the properties attribute, and symbol key and string key. And let me mention another warts. Okay. Now, remember, a object is a list of key value pairs by definition. Now, the allowed value type for the key, there are 2 possibilities. One is symbol type of the value. The other one is string type. Anything else is not allowed. For example, it is impossible to have a number as a key of an object. Okay, it's impossible. You cannot have a number as a key of an object, nor can you have an object as a key of an object. In other languages, often you can. In Ruby, Python, Java, you can. Even in Emacs Lisp, you can have arbitrary values as a key of an object. Anyway, in JavaScript, the only one value type allowed for the key is string or symbol. But again, you look back here, you see we have added a key here. Where did we add a key? We deleted it. Okay, let me see if I can get it back. You see, we added the key here. So you see, here is the code to add a key. Another problem is that when you add a key, there is 2 alternative syntax. Very confusing, very badly designed. You see, these 2 syntax, they are almost equivalent. Now, technically, the proper syntax, the most versatile syntax is this one, because you see that AA is a key you want to add to this object. And remember, the possible allowed value type for the key must be either a string or symbol. Anything else is not allowed. So here, this syntax properly shows that you are using a string. You see, this AA is a string. But however, JavaScript also has this dot syntax, okay, which is convenient, okay, but it's badly designed. Okay, so when you use this dot AA, that AA, JavaScript will automatically convert that AA into a string. Because why? Because the key must be a string or a symbol. So that AA is converted. Okay, so actually, I don't know where I'm going with this now. So anyway, that's about that. And let's see, how long have I been talking? 1 hour and 5 minutes. So anything else? I mean, where should we go? Like maybe we shut down in 5 minutes or in 10 minutes. Should we talk about some other things? That should we like any of these? Which one of these should we talk about, or should we do some demo, like real code demo about some of these enumerable properties and stuff? I don't know. So type, let me know. Okay, type whatever your thoughts. And let me think about what I want to, where we go. Semicolon is another major problem of JavaScript. Okay, let me say something about that semicolon problem in JavaScript. So JavaScript, as you know, in many languages, C and Java, you need to put a semicolon at the end of a usually a statement usually. So you have semicolon. But however, usually programmers find typing the semicolon very annoying because it's tedious. So JavaScript created a compiler. It has a smart feature. That smart feature is if you do not, for example, let's run this code. Okay, it runs. Okay, it runs, no problem. But if you remove the semicolon, it will also work. Let's remove it. Okay, so let's remove some semicolon. Run it, it runs. It also works. So it seems this is a great feature. The compiler is smart. It will just automatically add the semicolon for you. However, that's not the case because there is a major design flaw with the way the compiler, how they deal with semicolon. Why? Because let me show you an example. Let's put this. Let's show that. Okay, actually, let's comment this out. Let's go back here. Let's say we're gonna add a wait, not that. How shall we do it? Yeah, okay, so I know what to do. So you see, right now this code runs, everything is fine. Now let's try to remove this semicolon to see if that works. Okay, run it. Okay, it's also fine. Let's do 3 plus 5. Let's do 3 plus 5 here. Actually, let's do. Okay, so let's assign x equals to 7. X equals to 7. Okay, now first of all, let's put the semicolon. Okay, put the semicolon. Okay, let's comment out the rest of it. Okay, so our entire code is just these 2 lines. Let's run it, and let's print ARR, and let's print X. Okay, now it all works. Now let's remove the semicolon. Okay, remove it, remove it, remove it, remove it. It should work. Run it. It works indeed. I need to find a. Okay, let's just go to my website. Okay, and let's get the example. Let's show an example where it doesn't work. You see, this is tricky. That's why JavaScript is That's why semicolon has these problems. So let's use this example. So here we are, okay, so here we have a function. Let's put a semicolon there, okay. So this is complex to understand a little bit. So we are defining a constant f, and we assign it a value of a function. This function takes no argument, and it just returns 3. Okay, that's a function f. Then over here, we are calling another function. We are defining a function here, a function without no argument, and it just returns 4. And then it just evaluate it right away. Okay, so if we run this code, it does nothing. But let's say 3 plus 4. Okay, so if we run it, it does nothing. But now if we remove the semicolon, this I need to, well, I wanted to show you an actual example where in one version you have semicolon, everything works, and it'll print out something. Then, but if you remove the semicolon, it does something else. Your code becomes a bug, and sometimes mysteriously, like you cannot find out what's the problem, but your answer is wrong. I want to show you that example, but I'm not prepared here, so I'm not able to show you a good example. Right now we have this example, but this example is not so good because right now it just tells you a compiler error. If it's always a compiler error, then that's fine because okay, so that failed. So the semicolon has become a big issue in JavaScript because then you have two schools of thought. One school tells you to always use a semicolon. The other school tells you to never use semicolon. But in each school, the rules about when to add a semicolon or when to omit it is very complex. It's very hard to understand. It's not like a simple way, where you just add semicolon everywhere, it works. Well, actually that works. If you add semicolon almost everywhere, that works. It's getting complex, and anyway, anything else? Maybe that's it for today. I should close down. We still have 14 people watching, so yeah, let's maybe we do another JavaScript once, it'll be better. So that's it for today, I guess. Var problem, function problem. Some of these problems are fixed today. Some of them are not. Some of them are, forever. It's gonna be with us. For example, the null problem is with us. The function problem is also with us. Although you can try to never use function and use arrow function instead. The instance problem, the this keyword problem, that's with us. The with problem, that's also with us. The semicolon problem is also with us. The double equal sign, triple equal sign is also with us. It's not going away. The var problem is mostly going away because you just don't use var. You just don't use var at all. While the others, the with statement problem is also going away because you just don't use with at all. But the other problems, they kind of stays because you could try to never use them. But in real world, many people will keep using them, so it's not avoidable. So since people use them, then you have lots of, it drags in lots of technical details, when it's good, when it's bad, when you get lots of bugs, things like that. So anyway, so that's about it for today's JavaScript warts. Of course I have written this JavaScript in depth. You can read every detail precisely and much better than my impromptu talk show. Good morning, Bart. Okay, that's it for today. And buy my JavaScript tutorial. Okay, so you can buy it just by clicking the link. Bye, guys.